Hi students, this is a video that explains how to simplify fractions, and it also gives you some divisibility rules that help you with figuring out if a number, what the factors of a number are using some shortcuts. The first fraction that I want to look at to simplify is pretty big numbers, 24 out of 72, or 24 70-seconds. Right away, I see that both numbers are even, so I know that 2 is going to be a factor of each number. 2 is going to go into 24, and 2 is going to go into 72. So I am going to divide both of these by 2, and I could use a calculator. Or mental math, taking half. Half of 24 is 12. Half of 72 is 36. So 24 70-seconds simplifies to 12 out of 36. But that's not simplified all the way either. They're still both even. Whenever numbers are even, again, I know that 2 is going to go into both of them. Half of 12 is 6. Half of 36 is 18. And I want to highlight this because this has been a theme for the whole year. If you divide by the same number, or if you multiply by the same number, when you have a fraction or a ratio, it stays equal. I still have both numbers even. So I can divide by 2 again. And I get 3/9. Well, 2 doesn't work anymore. But I do still have a common factor. 3 goes into both 3 and 9. So I'm going to divide by 3, and I get 1/3. I can't simplify 1/3 anymore. 24 70-seconds simplified all the way is 1/3. And I wanted to show you a model of what is going on, a pizza model. So here's a pizza model. And remember, to understand fractions, we start with the denominator. This means that my pizza is divided, I'm starting with the denominator, that means there's 72 slices in this pizza. So they're going to be really small. I'm going to use a pencil so it's fine enough to show a whole bunch of slices. So I'm going to cut it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. 7 through 8 through 9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 6, 7, 8, 9, 51, 42, 43, 44, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 67, 69, 70, 71, 72. I've got 72 slices in that pizza. And I want to shade in 24 of those. Well, when I shade in 24, it would look like this. Shading in 24 slices. That's how much pizza I have. Looks like that. 24 out of 72. Well, over here I've got 1/3. So 1/3 is going to look like this. My pizza is in thirds. And I'm going to shade in 1 of the thirds. So now what I want you to notice is that this pizza, that pink amount of pizza, is exactly the same as that amount of pizza. These are equal. This one is just cut up much more than this one. This is simplest form. It is fully simplified. 1/3 is simplified. It's as simple as we can make it. but it's that amount of pizza. 24 out of 72 is that amount of pizza. It's the same amount here. It's just that this one is simplified. If I were to draw all of these as a model, they would all have the same amount of pizza shaded, this pink amount, all of them. So the next thing I wanted to do is give you some divisibility rules. So you know this is a rule to know what factors go into a number. A number is divisible by, and we're going to list the numbers here and kind of the test that you know, does this number go into the number you're asking about or not? Okay, so a number is divisible by 2 if the number is even. How do you tell if a number is even? An even number ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0. 24 ends in a 4, 72 ends in a 2. They're even. I know that 2 is going to go into both. The divisibility rule for 3 is if three is going to go into a number if the sum of the digits of that number is divisible by 3. Here's what that means. The sum of the digits means you take the actual numbers of the number, the digits of the number, you add them. So 24 is made up of a 2 and a 4. I add 2 plus 4 makes 6. 3 goes into 6, so that means 3 is going to go into 24. Same thing with 72. I add 7 plus 2 makes 9. 3 goes into 9. 3 is going to go into 72. 3 is a factor of 72. Some other useful ones that you might already know. 5, most kids can recognize 5. 5 is going to, a number is going to be divisible by 5 if that number ends in a 5 or a 0. If you count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, they end in either a 5 or a 0. So quick glance, if it ends in a 5 or a 0, which these don't, okay, so 5 is not a factor. 6 is a number is going to be divisible by 6 if rule for number, if the rule for 2 and 3 both work. So if it's even, because that's the rule for 2, if it's even and if you add the digits, the sum is divisible by 3. If both of those are true, then 6 is going to be a factor of that number. Last one that we'll do is 10. Okay, 10 is going to, a number is going to be divisible by 10 if the number ends in a 0. 10 is going to go into it. So this is your goal for simplifying, is finding a common factor of both numerator and denominator. Another thing that you can think of is this. I'm going to do another example down here. and think it through out loud. If I have 21 28ths, another way to think about simplifying is, how can you make a 21? What numbers make 21 when you multiply them? Well, in my head or on my multiplication table, I might notice that 3 times 7 makes 21. I ask the same thing here. And if there were more ways, I would list more ways to make that number. 28, you can make by doing 4 times 7. And I notice that 7 was here for a factor of 21, and 7 was a factor of 28. That's my common factor. I'm going to divide by 7. How many 7s go into 21 is 3. How many 7s go into 28 is 4. So 21 28ths simplifies to 3/4. So this is what you're doing with simplifying, is you are trying to find a common factor. And here are some shortcuts to know if a number goes into, if a number is divisible by one of these, then these numbers are a factor of that number. That's it for simplifying fractions. You might also want to check out how to simplify improper fractions.